Today, we are digging into one of the most wild ideas in all of modern art. Can silence actually be music? We're going to find the answer by looking at one composer, John Cage, and the ancient philosophy that completely upended how he heard the world. Let's get into it. So it all boils down to this one question, right? And it comes from Cage's most notorious piece, 4 minutes, 33 seconds. I mean, this is a composition where a musician literally walks on stage, sits at a piano, and plays nothing for 4 minutes and 33 seconds. It sounds like a punchline, I know, but it's somehow one of the most important works of the 20th century. So what is going on here? Well, the key, at least according to Kay Larson's fantastic biography, Where the Heart Beats, isn't found in any Western music textbook. Nope, the answer is in the East. Larson makes this incredible case that to even begin to understand Cage, you have to get a handle on the huge impact that Zen Buddhism had, not just on him, but on a whole generation of American creators. To really see why an idea like Zen took root, we need to get a feel for the world Cage was living in. We're talking about a post-war America that was desperately searching for something new to believe in. I mean, just try to put yourself in that mindset for a second. It's the mid-20th century, you've just lived through 2 world wars, the Cold War is kicking off. There was this real sense of disillusionment. All the old rules seemed broken, and a lot of artists and deep thinkers felt this profound emptiness. So naturally, they started looking for answers in some pretty unconventional places. And for a surprising number of them, that answer came from the East. Philosophies like Zen Buddhism started making their way to the West, and they offered a totally different way of looking at the world. It wasn't about controlling everything or imposing order. It was about finding meaning right here, right now, in your direct experience of life. And the person we can really thank for bridging that gap was D.T. Suzuki. He was this brilliant Japanese scholar whose lectures and books, well, they took these really complex Zen concepts and translated them for a Western audience that was just hungry for a new way of thinking. He was the guy who opened the door. And you can see Suzuki's influence pop up everywhere, especially with the Beat generation. You know, guys like Allen Ginsberg, Jack Kerouac, Gary Snyder, they were just soaking this stuff up. They started weaving Zen ideas about awareness and the fleeting nature of things right into their poems and novels. So Zen was definitely in the cultural water supply when our main character shows up. Okay, so with this big cultural search for meaning as our backdrop, let's finally meet the man himself, John Cage, a composer whose own lifelong rebellion was about to find its true north. You know, Cage was a rebel from day one. He was born in LA in 1912, and he was just surrounded by this spirit of invention. He was immediately drawn to the most out-there art movements of the time, like Dadaism, which basically questioned what art even was. So long before he ever heard of Zen, he was already pushing back on the old rules, asking, hey, why does music have to be made of just notes? Why not noise? Why not any sound? And this really gets to the heart of who he was. This rebellious streak was just baked into his personality. He was just so driven by this deep need to express himself, and that meant constantly pushing the boundaries of what everyone else called music. He wasn't just trying to write new tunes, he was trying to discover a whole new way of listening. And this is the turning point. This is where a rebellious composer finally meets the one philosophy that's going to give all his wild experiments a profound new direction. Just look at this. It's like night and day. This is the revolution that happened inside Cage's head. Before Zen, he was a composer in the classic sense, right? Controlling every note. But after he dove into D.T. Suzuki's teachings, everything changed. He went from control to chance, from focusing on his own intentions to focusing on pure awareness, from making art that was about life to making art that was life itself. So here's the most important part. Zen gave Cage a method for his madness. It taught him how to get his own ego, his personal tastes, his likes and dislikes, out of the picture. He started using things like flipping coins or consulting the ancient Chinese text, the I Ching, to make his musical decisions. The whole point was to create music that wasn't an expression of John Cage, but an exploration of what sound itself could be. And all of this, well, it brings us right back to where we started, that so-called silent piece of music, and what it all really means. So here's how it actually works. A performer comes out, but they don't play anything. But wait, music is still happening, isn't it? It's the hum of the air conditioning. It's the cough from someone in the back row. It's the sound of traffic outside. It's the sound of the blood rushing in your own ears. The piece is just a frame, a container. designed to make you realize that this symphony of sound is always happening all around you. And that is the big secret. 433 is not about silence. Because really, is there ever such a thing as true silence? No way. The piece is a kind of guided meditation. It's an exercise in pure listening. It's a Zen puzzle in musical form, asking all of us to just stop and pay attention to the world as it is. This shift in thinking was absolutely everything for him. Like Kay Larson writes, it took Cage from being this kind of fringe, weird, experimental composer and put him right at the center of the American avant-garde. He basically gave a whole generation of artists permission to think completely differently about what art could even be. And his influence just exploded way beyond music. You have artists like Robert Rauschenberg creating his famous white paintings after being inspired by Cage's ideas. You have Andy Warhol with his obsession with everyday objects. Yoko Ono and her conceptual art. They were all tapping into this conversation that Cage started. He kicked open a door, and a whole generation of creators just flooded right through it. So in the end, Cage's silent piece isn't silent at all. It's really an invitation. It's an invitation to stop what you're doing, to let go of what you think music is, and to just discover the endless accidental music that's always playing. It leaves us with a really simple but profound question. Right now, in this moment, what do you hear when you just listen?